gifts.
drop some links here. We'll start our dower friends. We have two props, one that has ended and one that is currently going. We'll go with the first one, which is still currently going. Let's just, why is it not pasting? Sorry, give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, cool. So the first one, this is the allocate 400K ghost for Gotchi Point Season 1. There's a link to the snapshot there that you can check out, or it actually didn't process the link, but I'll add it in a second. Basically, it's to allocate 400K ghosts from the Gotchiverse Rewards wallet to launch Gotchi Point Season 1 as a replacement incentive system following the cancellation of the Gotchi token. The voting period is ending tomorrow, March 23rd. So far, we have 6.5 million ghosts in favor. That's 74.88%. And 2.1 million ghosts not in favor, 25.12%. That's 95.4% of quorum. So we still need 400,000 ghosts voting to get this over the line. Friends, definitely go and make sure to vote. All right. So the other proposal, which is AGIP 142, we are copying it now. Yeah, I'll drop the links in after I read all this, and then you can kind of go back and look. Actually, let me just drop the link now. We got it. So this is the link for the previous. And then this will be the link for the buyback, which we are going to discuss here. AGIP 142. Okay, we got all our links in order. Summary proposes using 1 million USDC and 1 million DAI. This is AGIP 142, buy 2 million worth of ghosts. Swapper contract to buy 2 million worth of ghosts, signaling strong DAO support and increasing treasury ghost reserves. The voting period just ended. This one did pass with 8.5 million ghosts in favor. That's 88.47%, and 1.1 million ghosts against 11.53%, which is 107% of quorum, 9.7 million ghosts. So those are the two proposals. Someone get a whale in here. Yeah, 400,000 ghosts. We're so close to getting that over the line. So make sure you go out and vote, and then we can move that last one forward. So I guess with the passing of the 400 ghost K ghost for Gotchi point season, Coder Dan, when do you see that core prop going out for that one once it passes?
The Gotchi points one.
Yeah.
But we'll put our, so we got the make Aavegotchi based again. That one passed, and the 400K ghost. We're gonna wait till both of them have finality before we put the final props out, because they're kind of related in a way, especially the 400K ghost one. But yeah, those will if only the make Aavegotchi base one passes again, reaches quorum, then we'll only put that one out next week. But hopefully we're putting both out as core props next week.
Okay, excellent. I guess we can move on to our forum discussions. We did have FIFO say that he wanted to come up and speak. FIFO, are you in the audience? I can't see. Sorry, FaZe is responding. Okay. So he is not available right now, but he might chime in at some point. Uh, so there were a couple conversations that were started that we can discuss. Three of them that were started this week. Basically, adjusting quorum requirements and doubling XP rewards is one. XP for non-caching Badler gotchis, and monthly Badler proposal, which was coming from Crypto Green. We can start, I guess, with the adjusting quorum requirements and doubling XP rewards. This was dropped by Phantasma. You can find it in the forum post. I have to get that link for you. I'll do that in a second. Basically, it's to reduce the quorum requirement for proposals from 9 million ghosts to 7.2 million ghosts. It's not an arbitrary reduction, but aims to exclude the DAO's own ghost holdings, approximately 2 million, from quorum calculations, making it a more accurate reflection of community participation. So there is like we are waiting for a migration to base, so that does kind of gummy stuff up. But part of this was also to double the XP rewards for voters, 20 XP for successful signal props, 40 XP for successful core props. It seems like the consensus here is that we are, increasing the XP is not a bad idea to increase voter engagement and fairness. due to the recent quorum issues. Does anybody have any thoughts on this that they haven't put into the forum already? I'm gonna scroll back and see if I missed any comments.
Yeah, I fully agree with the idea of taking out the DAO kind of voting power since it's not really circulating. I think that's I've been quite against like arbitrary changes of quorum just to make things easier to vote on. But in this case, I think this is an example where it does make sense. Like, why are we counting voting power that is not actually like it's on Polygon, but it's not ever going to be used because it's not really circulating. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, assuming that we were to go through with this, we just need to pass another signal prop, core prop that reached the current quorum, and then we can officially lower it, correct? Or can we just as a DAO decide to lower it? How was the initial quorum set in place?
Um, there was no vote to ratify the the quorum requirement. It was we're basically just using the initial blog post that Pixelcraft set out 4 or 5 years ago. I think it would make sense that to have a vote to lower the quorum though, in that way.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Especially we have the foundation is set up. I think can't be as arbitrary as things might have been back in the early days.
Yeah, no, we got to run through the DAO. It makes perfect sense. Ricky G asking regarding this prop, when do you think buybacks going to start? No futuristic. He's referring to the $2 million worth of ghost buybacks. Um, right now, I believe we are in the process as the DAO directors, and we could talk about this a little later in the DAOer, of onboarding the new foundation directors. So once that happens, we will be able to move forward. Does anyone not want me to use Verif to KYC the new batch? Yeah, that's also, we'll discuss that in a minute, just to go through the other forum topics. But once all that's done, we should be able to start executing according to the core prop and sig props, specifications ASAP. But we just need to switch out the directors now, and then we can start moving. Things are happening in the directors channels as we speak. I can't read it because I'm in this channel. Uh, Hardcore once again asking if Verif to KYC if anyone has an issue with that. Ditchy abandoned pants. Can you phrase that in non-coder speak? Okay, that's a different thing. Yeah, so we'll once we have the new directors in, we will start executing all this. But that should be today. We should be able to execute that today if I'm not mistaken. All right. Any other questions, suggestions, or comments regarding quorum adjustments? Ricky G, we do have right now 5 signing directors, but we need all 5 signing directors. We're missing one right now, but they'll be online later so that we can add in the other to swap out on the multi-sig 4 of the previous signing directors. So we're just waiting for that 5th person because the other 4 directors who have been removed can't sign. Yeah, Choin is saying Maxi, Crouton, and the directors are going to start testing soon. It's a KYC solution. It's the only one I can find that we don't need big setup or a sales call to use. I can get 15-day trial, and it's about $3 a person. I saw there was something while I was at Eat Denver. There was a service that popped up that did KYC. I know we'll talk about it a little later in the conversation, Coder Dan, but you said that you had some updates on Ross. So maybe through that conversation with Ross, we might have some information about potential KYC solutions.
No, he has not provided any KYC solutions. The only thing I did get him to, I can drop it here. Put together this doc, which I've gone through a little bit, but basically it seems like it's a doc that we could like reuse multiple times about updating it's a resolution to acknowledge and record the appointment of new director name, could be directors, as director of the foundation, validly appointed by the council pursuant to Article 15 of the Articles of Association. And then it lists out the directors. We have 9 instead of 6, but we can easily update that. And yeah, it's I think it's just these would be auto pinned by each director. So we would put this into a DocuSign. I'm not sure if that's do you know? Do you guys remember? Did we use like a DocuSign for the original, like anything related to the directors, or would this be the first time that we'd be doing that?
I feel like I remember signing something,
Yeah,
but I've also used DocuSign a couple different times over the years, so I might
yeah,
just be making that up.
yeah. So this is a good like we can once we have this, I think we can send this over to the corpsec. I did mention that we have not gotten any comms from the corpsec. Uh, was there any progress? Like, did you try emailing them in to their uh like kind of official email address?
Yes, I forwarded. I emailed them the same email plus copied all the directors to the official their website address. They did have a phone number. I haven't had a chance to call them during business hours because I'm not even. I think Cayman Islands is Eastern Standard, right? Like something around there.
Yeah, it's like Bahamas or like I think right
Yeah, so I
in that
haven't I
area.
haven't called them, but I haven't gotten anything back via email either.
Okay. So at least we got these articles, and I think if we get them signed, I'll double check with him. I think what he was saying was that if we can get this document signed, then it's valid. Like we don't necessarily need to send it to the corpsec, but I will double check with him on that.
Okay, yeah. We'll wait for more information and then move forward. But yeah, so the buyback should hopefully, once all these signatures happen today, tomorrow, depending on scheduling, then we could start implementing, I guess, the buyback that needs to go forward.
Nice.
All right. Is there anything else? I know they're discussing. That's the Uber Canadian. There's other things going on in the background, but we'll go to the next topic, which is it's a forum post that popped up. When was this? 3 days ago, coming from Crypto Green, and it's XP for non-caching Battler gotchis. Should gotchis that don't earn Ghost and Battler still receive XP? The main idea is to award 10 XP to gotchis that don't make minimum cash. I'm one of those. My teams often don't make it very far into the tournaments. There's some mixed opinions on this. Uh, you know, others warning it could lead to spam entries from whales, alternative discussions of 5 XP per win or tiered XP based on performance. Uh, there was some discussion of automating our XP distribution via scripts and shared sheets. I know at some point we talked about having the directors execute XP coder Dan. If we had
Mhm.
scripts and the proper tooling for that, how difficult is that to do? And like, is there a security risk or anything like that, that we have to worry about?
No, I think it's a matter of just sitting down and like there's a couple areas that need to be pushed on the GitHub repo. So the way it works is that uh, for most of XP, like the claiming flow that we have right now, I run a script. That script generates the Merkle tree, and then that Merkle tree needs to be uploaded to GitHub. And so that it's just there's a couple things that need to happen. The biggest impediment to automating everything is Snapshot itself, because the only time we're actually supposed to put out XP is when a core prop passes successfully. And so the issue that we kind of have, and this I think this is possibly solvable with AI, it just needs to be implemented, is there's really no way to link a core prop back to a sig prop and say this is the sig prop that was created before the core prop passed. The only way to link them is the name, and it's kind of fuzzy. Like computers don't like it when things, if you have one character off, for example, like someone forgets to put a letter, it's not going to be an exact match. And so the if we had like an automation script running, the automation script would say, hey, well, there's no sig prop, so I'm not gonna deploy this XP. So I think with AI though, we can probably query the snapshot API and just say, "Hey, find me the closest matches," and if it matches like 95%, then we're gonna consider that like a sig prop, and we can. At that point, we would like trigger a script to run all of that. So it would process the XP. It would deploy that. It would then GitHub would then update with its GitHub action to add the Merkle tree onto into the GitHub repo, and then the front end just pulls all that from the back end anyway. So really, the main impediment has just been snapshot and not having like a way to hard code. If they just gave us like a field where you could when you're submitting a core prop, you could put the ID of the sig prop in, then we could also solve it that way. But I don't know. Need to look into that and see if that's actually something either maybe we could do or like Snapshot could implement.
Okay, so that's for voting side. How about XP for like gaming experience? Like if we
Yeah.
do a type form for anything, any special event you do, or if something like this battler stuff happens.
So I think yeah, that is a little bit. If someone basically like collects the for that, you need to basically collect the information. You need to verify like all the gotcha IDs and everything. Um, there's basically three types. There's like the game events that we've run. There's the XP events, and then there's the DAO voting. So I would say DAO voting is the most technically complex. And then games can be a little bit complex depending on the different rules that the games have implemented for like leaderboards. And then the simplest one is like come to this event, tell us which Gachi ID or what your wallet is, and we'll send XP to all of the the Aavegotchis in your wallet. So
Okay,
that
yeah.
one would be fairly simple to set up. Someone still needs to run a script to generate all that information. And sometimes in previous scripts, like you might have to run like 3 or 4 batches because there's a gas limit and you can't go over that gas limit. So someone needs to be technically like competent enough to be able to run a couple scripts that will then generate transactions that would be fed into the multi-sig. That's why Pixelcraft is still doing it, because it's quite there's definitely a couple technical hurdles that we got to get over with the foundation.
Yeah, that sounds very complicated. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, like even the idea of like running 3 or 4 batch scripts, I was like, dang, is it like that large? With us moving to base though, the fee should be manageable, right? Or do you
Yeah,
think
it's
it'll be
not fees, it's the gas limit. Like when you if you try to process sending XP to 10,000 gotchis, you have to batch that in like 2 or 3 transactions just because you hit the upper gas limit, and you you can't process the whole thing in one. It's not a question of money or fee, it's a question of the gas limit just being hit.
Yeah, a lot. I still have a lot to learn. I'm gonna do it though. Ricky G asks, and the smart contract for buyback from Agip 69 is working, or you haven't tried yet? This is for Agip 142, I believe he's referring to. I don't think we've tried the buyback bot since it stopped buying back way, like a while ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know if does anybody have an update on that? Maxi Crouton is weighing in. Also, I hope we didn't ruin your McDonald's experience in Europe after going there in the US. 7 of 10. Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess we'll in the back end we'll discuss and make sure everything works before deploying. All right, so the last subject, unless FIFO pops in, is the monthly Battler proposal. This is coming from Crypto Green. Basically, the proposal was to hold monthly Battler tournaments, 12 in total, with 100K ghosts each up for grabs. We would request the DAO to fund an extra 300K ghosts so that the total is 1.2 million ghosts per year doled out towards Gotchi Battler. Some of the pros: consistent engagement during base migration. It boosts long-term confidence in Gotchi slash wearables. Some of the concerns: too many unknowns. With the base migration, we don't have a rarity farming schedule set up, and the proposal for a new one is kind of being paused right now. There's no plan for funding Badler dev team. They're going to have to make adjustments and do stuff like that. So we would have to think about that as well. PVE mode development may impact things. So a little alpha there, like the idea of player versus enemy. For now, I guess we can discuss this, but in this conversation, it looks like post migration, it might be the best move to start rekindling this conversation. Yeah, and then someone adding that we should add some battle modes, manual battle modes for strategy and engagement. I would love to. Oh, FIFO's here. Excellent. Monthly battler. I've advocated before for monthly rarity farming, like or weekly rarity farming. Take our whole budget for a year and just stretch it out, and then doing distributions. I know that's a lot. That's going to be a pain in the butt. You're going to be running millions of scripts, but just like the cool idea of like my gotcha really gives me passive income all the time. It just feels cooler to me. So I could see why increasing battler frequency to monthly with a smaller pot would be appealing because we're always then doing something. I wonder though, like how that vibes with plans that Pixelcraft has because they have their own release schedule for their games and how this could fit in. Hardcore saying if we fund Badler again, it needs to include a way to monetize for the arcade box. When you say the arcade box, oh, he updated. We fund the dev again. It needs to include a way to monetize for the arcade box. When you say arcade box, do you mean the Polycade? Yeah, the Polycade. Yeah, I mean, it can play in Polycade theoretically, but it's an idle battler, so you're not really doing much. I'm just going up and making sure. Looking at the comments so we don't miss anything. Choina saying, so Coder Dan, I'm thinking we should not add the new directors to the multi-sig until they have KYC'd, AML'd, and the onboarding document for each new director has been docu-signed by the board, just CYA. So no one knows. Gelato was bugging us about some stuff that was broken in tickets a while back. Please test it. So like Piglet saying, let's test the bot. I think that makes sense. Polycade, those are all over Asia. Yes, the Polycades are a great opportunity because they are, deployed a whole bunch of places. Just a matter of getting them on the games. Why not pay out XP for games and up the rarity farming XP allocation? Uh, Thrax, that's contentious. Like, what do? You're gonna have to take it from, BRS or from Kinship. I don't think people are gonna be very happy. Coder Dan saying, are they using gelato? Sorry, I'm just reading through all of this very quickly. FIFO saying, why don't we stick to the actual reward for Battler, but we spread the actual prize money differently so we have one tournament per month? I agree. We don't then need to change the budget. There's still going to be constraints on the Battler team, though, so we have to key in with them and see if, what that looks like. It was written EGIF 69 that gelato is included. Okay, so gelato is included on the bot. Gaming protocol 18s with my entry fee equals huge opportunity for high stakes gambling on the player side and huge house profits and rental profits. So yeah, like I'm a fan of frequency and having these events happen more often, especially if we tie it with marketing to let people outside of us know what's happening. Ideally, though, remember all this hinges on the fact that the DAO takes over, or we discuss how to transition Orium's rental infrastructure into the Aavegotchi website so that, because if you can't rent, then it's going to become difficult to. I mean, I have two full
I
teams,
think
but
it's
I
gonna
want to
happen.
get other people coming in.
I think Fifoo's has a is gonna make a proposal to do that, and if he doesn't, then Pixelcraft will make sure that it happens.
Okay, excellent. Uh, I guess with that, unless we have any other comments about this monthly battler proposal, as always with all three of these forum posts, friends, go and drop your opinions in there, be heard, and we'll like get some updates next week. FIFO, do you want to jump up now and speak? Are you available? Oh, here we go. Good morning or afternoon for you, FIFO. How you doing?
GM. Oh, it's afternoon for me. But
Ah,
good
yeah.
morning, everyone, I guess. So yeah, I just wanted to make a demo regarding the latest development we did on the DApp with PG. So I was just unlocking my tier ledger and preparing stuff. So basically what I'm going to show you is actually on a staging version of the app. So it's been deployed, but it's not in the main branch and it's not publicly available for now. But regarding the wearable config stuff, meaning possibility to backup configuration, save them, reuse them, and so on. All the smart contract and all the subgraph parts have been delivered by PG and it's been accepted by Pixelcraft and it's now online. So the only remaining part is the DApp itself. So wait, I'm just looking for where is the share button. Okay, share here. So I'm going to show you where is it actually with the DApp. So I think the actual version that I'm going to show you is very close from the definitive one that will be released, but any feedbacks are appreciated regarding the wording and the design, whatever. So let me share my screen here. You see my screen? I hope
It
screen
is
sharing
loading
works this
for
time.
me.
For me, it's loading, but maybe someone else can see it.
Based on the internet connection where I am, it should be working, but unless Discord really say that it doesn't want it to work. Is it working for good for transistor, loading for me? Okay, let me stop sharing and reshare again, maybe. Don't know. Maybe if I just share one screen, one window, maybe. Yeah. Now?
Still loading for me.
Oh. Good for me, working, works for me. Okay. I'm going to do the demo. I will post some screenshot later on in the DAO channel regarding to the prop and we'll proceed that way. Okay? So basically, here is my list of Gotchi. That's the one that you see in your inventory normally. And I've created some configuration already, so I'm going to go to the equip menu of the Gotchi where you normally can add and remove some wearables. I'm going to try and post the screenshot as I speak, that way. That way, so the screen. Okay, so I'm posting the screenshot also. So there is a new outfit manager button at the bottom. And when I click on the button, you get this new page where you can see all the outfits that have been created for this Gotchi. And that's where I'm going to be able to change in one click, one transaction, all the wearable of my Gotchi. So I'm going to go for this configuration. So it says to me that all the wearables that we need are part of your inventory. It means none of the wearable I need are actually equipped on another Gotchi. So I don't need to undress one Gotchi to be able to complete the outfit, I would say. I don't know if it's clear when I say it that way. So in one transaction, I'm going to remove all the actual wearables from my Gochi, and I'm going to put a new set of wearable, what we call a new outfit. And I play my transaction, and Polygon is going to do his thing. And then when I'm going back to my Gochi, you see my Gochi has totally changed. He has new outfits. There is only the mechanical claw that remains here. So now what I'm going to do to make it a little bit more fun, I'm going to take the wearables that I removed from this Gochi, and I'm going to spread them across a few of my other Gochis. So I'm going to give this to this one. And I could also give him this and that. Okay, sorry, I could have done everything at once. Not very smart. Okay. And wait for it to complete. And I'm going to give him the armor, for example. Body, armor, save changes. Okay, and almost there. So now when I go back to the Gochi I started the demo with, if I want to go back to the original configuration, the original outfit, that is an outfit that I save also, I go back to the outfit manager and I want to reapply the outfit that I called my first. Right now I'm using my third config v2, it is the applied outfit. And I want to apply this one again. I'm clicking on the apply button. And here it's going to tell me which wearables are located on other Gochis. And so which wearable needs to be removed from actual Gochis. And it gives me the preview of what will be the stat of the Gochis after I strip down some wearable from him. So that way you know exactly which, if you have, for example, in my case, it is a Wizard Visor. It's equipped on Crazy Link and PolyAave. And I can decide if I want to remove it from PolyAave or Crazy Link. And each time it's going to tell me what is the impact on the threats of the Gochis that will lose a wearable. And the order of priority is that first, if the wearable is available in my inventory and is not equipped on any Gochi, it's going to be picked and it won't ask you for anything. If you borrow the wearable and is not equipped on any Gochi, it's the second choice. And the same thing, it's not going to ask you anything. And so the third solution is that the wearable is equipped. You own the wearable, but it's equipped on one of your Gochi. And the last solution is you borrow the wearable and it's equipped on one of your Gochi. But every time the DApp needs to remove the wearable from one of your Gochi, it's in the list and it's going to tell you about it. That's how the system works anyway. That way you're not surprised when I'm going to post a screenshot of that one also. That way you know every time what's going to happen. And so I'm going to play the transaction like that. And here, oh no, yeah, I need to re-unlock my ledger. I should have prepared the hot wallet for the demo. Sorry, guys. And here we go.
Yeah, these screenshots look
So
great.
when the transaction,
Sorry.
Yeah, I try to do my best to stick to the set of UI components that was provided by Pixelcraft that are already part of the DApp, and they made they made a really good job when they redesigned all the UI, because the reusability is good, I would say, or very good. And so it's how can I say that? I expect it to be a bit harder to reuse all that stuff. So the UI has been very complicated, because to know where can I take this wearable, is it equipped on this one or this one, which one I choose, and so on. It's been more complicated from a logic point of view than what I expected. But in the end, it worked. And yeah, Coderdan, if I had to implement that on the old V1, I guess it would have been a bit more complicated, I would say. So I'm happy the V2 is here. So yeah, right now that's how the feature works. Now the last thing I need to do, I guess, is first Coderdan will give me one last feedback, I guess, regarding if everything is right for them. And then while I was finishing this work, Pixelcraft released a new version of the DApp, the one that is actually online, which is like, I think, a preparation for the DApp to go open source. And there've been a lot of changes, so I need to merge all of that and make sure everything is good. But I think overall, the feature will be available this week if Pixelcraft has enough time to review my changes and publish it. But it should be available this week, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's amazing. It looks great. Yeah, being able to change configurations and get ready for different games and tournaments is going to be pretty epic, especially as more games, bring assets online. Yeah, Coder Dan
Yeah,
says we'll
yeah.
be reviewing this week.
Yeah, thanks, Coderdan. Yeah, that was the main objective of the two features, to have the game threads directly available in the DApp for all the games, and to be able to switch configuration from left to right. To be honest, I've played with this thing for a week, and all my Goshi's configuration are now. Well, I need to re-prepare everything for next rarity farming, whatever. I didn't back up all the configuration at the start, and now all variables have moved like places 10 times. So my Gochi inventory is a bit of a mess. So yeah. So we're close to the end. From a budget point of view, we unfortunately we have hit all the contingencies that we planned for. There have been many reasons for that. First reason is that on the game threads, I did not anticipated the time it takes to for the coordination with all the games, and the time it took to make the development. Like some games, they change their meta and they balance their game like twice during the development. So I had to redo quite a lot of things, and the communication hasn't been perfect with all the game makers. So there were quite some time loss regarding that. And from the smart contract and subgraph part, when we started the project, the idea was to release everything on Geist. And as you know, Geist is not part of the roadmap anymore. So we had to adjust our plans mid-flight, I would say, to finally make everything available on Polygon right now. And so yeah, this plus that, the 10% contingency that was supposed to make us safe, we had to we had to use it in the process. So we've been over budget, but by a very few margin, which is, I think, based on all the events that happened, it's totally understandable. And well, I'm good with the time I spend on the project that are not compensated. It's okay on my side. Next time I may ask for additional funding to implement new features in the DApp if the Gotchi gang, if the community agrees, if the ideas are good, if there are some if there are some good use cases to be implemented, it's been fun to work on that app, so I will be happy to do it again. But it depends on whether the feature I want to implement are useful or not. The first one I see is to implement the wearable lending and borrowing, because Oriam is shutting down in a few months, and there might be some others also. Yeah, wearable and lend integration hardcore. It might be the plan. I will certainly open a thread somewhere on the DAO Discord this week or next week to talk about it and to see what people think about that.
Yeah,
Say.
I encourage you to do so. You the work that you've currently done, you even with using the contingency, it looks great. So you kind of know how to play within the configuration of the UI that's currently there. So,
Yeah,
Orium was hesitant to try to like implement into the Gotchi app for various reasons, but the UI part of it, you're already comfortable with that. So I think it should be like seamless in a lot of ways.
well, I don't know if I'm comfortable, but I can say I'm better at it now than I was 2 months ago, for sure. Yes, I
Yeah.
start to know a few things about the DApp, about how it works. It's a big project, so the first week and so on, it's been I was looking for things left and right, asking questions, and it was not. It's well done. I would say that it's well done, but you just need to learn the convention and how they been thinking the whole thing, and then it's okay. But yeah, there is there is a learning curve to be comfortable with it. I'm not going to say I'm comfortable with all the DApp right now, as there are some part of the DApp I know nothing about. But yeah, I think I'd like to keep working on the DApp because I think it's been kind of an initial investment for me to go through this learning curve. And now there can be some additional benefits, and I can be more efficient if I keep working on it on some other subject. But the subjects have to be of interest for the community, and it has to go through a vote and so on. So that's it.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Thank you so much for your time
Thank you,
today.
no future.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Um, Very quickly, there's a little conversation going about who will post the props. Coder Dan responded, PC will post them for our props next week. We did see the Make Aavegotchi Based Again prop pass, so we'll be seeing that next week, as well as the if assuming the 400k ghost prop passes, we will be seeing one for that. Just reading what else. No, that requires a prop, in my opinion. We need to do the quorum prop and one to tighten up director processes, establish a petty cache. Yeah, we could talk about the directors briefly before we end the meeting today. I agree, hardcore. I think that for certain administrative uh, duties that the foundation has, that we should have a small pile of cash. I'm not talking big, but like for towards a retainer for a lawyer to pay for services for KYC stuff that's like pertinent to the operation of the foundation. I'm not sure what the full scope of that is. Like, yeah, Choina said a small slush fund is definitely needed. We'll have to discuss that more, but it might be good for us to start that here in these last 10-15 minutes. Yeah, so hardcore saying we need at least a couple $100. I'm figuring like the KYC stuff, I have no real scope. I know you mentioned $3. There are other services. Whatever that turns out to be, having eventually, I guess we have an AGIP that proposes that we can give out funds for gas, so we can just, I guess, unilaterally do that, or we can create that as part of this fund so that there's an easier accounting for that. But I guess either way it works. Um, Potentially for the legal retainer, what other fees would we really have as a DAO directors board? Trying to see if there's anybody. People talking D&D. Yeah, Coder Dan, create a vibe coded D&D that's very simple but online that we could play with gotchis.
I may or may not already be way ahead of you, sir.
Oh, ooh.
Not way ahead, but had a
You're
good
working.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Look, it might
So
be looking for beta testers here soon.
yeah. Ditchy saying, agreed. Do we have a dedicated program for planning and execution for the overall direction of the DAO? That is there any executive planning going on in a structural way? We don't do that. Currently, the directors are nine of us, which are the multi-sig signers. And it's like in the last couple of terms, I guess, Maxi Crouton's the treasurer. We don't have any other positions. We could like implement a president, a vice president, a secretary. We haven't found the need to do that because the DAO also has been kind of against any kind of centralization of power, as we've had other like executive committees for the DAO, like to basically manage things, been turned down. There's been a couple of core props that didn't make it over that. So I don't know that there's even an appetite for that. Just waiting for comments. Talking about some vibe coding on hockey sprite games. I like that. Oh, Coder Dan, can we I know with our gotchis we can get PNGs off the website and the OG website. Can we do that with wearables or no?
The wearable itself, I think the best place to get the wearables right now is probably the wiki. If you go to the wiki and the wearables page, we have all the, I think they're SVGs over there, and that's actually even better because you can blow SVGs up as big as you want them.
Okay, so that's better. All right. And that's all 2D or 3D as well.
They're only 2D. We don't have the we're the next one of the next things on our list is to propagate all the 3D support throughout the DApp and everywhere. So they're I'm talking mainly about the 2D stuff.
Okay, that still works. Okay, excellent. Yeah, hardcore saying, I'm just trying to fix the issue we had with onboarding. The directors cannot self manage without either using their own funds or making a prop. And it's always going to come down to someone just ponying up in an emergency. I will say, so far, we haven't had any issue like this other than gas, which we got a prop pass for to distribute gas for us, which has been helpful. In terms of this, I feel like with this onboarding of the directors, we have to kind of take the feedback that in the process of that prop, we left a lot of holes wide open in terms of what our actionable steps should be going forward. Like we had that the new directors instantly started their term, but that ignored the whole KYC process and then
Mm.
the idea of corpsec as well as you know, all just the process in general, getting you guys to DocuSign. With the previous onboarding of first Aavegotchi, I don't think we updated corpsec. That wasn't on our agenda. We updated the he KYC'd, I believe, with Pixelcraft, and then we updated the multi-sig. So now we kind of have a better understanding as we go through this process. So we definitely need to put some rails on this puppy so that we can approach it. But I think going forward, the core prop has to be very specific. We have to just make sure that all like go over it with a fine tooth comb and learn the lesson. Just reading. DocuSign is also cheap but not free. Spending would obviously be made public to the DAO. Maybe it makes sense for Maxi to include foundation spending in his treasury reports. Yeah, I would do that. Like, because the idea with the right now, these spendings should be either one off or like subscription based stuff. Like if we have to have a DocuSign and we're paying like, there's probably a free version, but if we're paying like a yearly subscription, we know we have that. But I don't, in this term, we're only going to have to, we have a year. If we have to swap out directors, we can one off it again. So I don't think any of these expenses should relatively like speaking just be one offs. Like we're paying a lawyer, we're doing this, we're doing that. So updating it in the treasury, I think, is fine, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of action from that kind of spending because we're not going to be. That's not really in our mandate. Yeah, Faye's calling a call to action to check out the proposal, allocate 400K Ghost from Gotchiverse player rewards. We were very close to quorum, so you still have a day. I got to go vote with my ledger. Um, Make out Chemica and Parcels Go Burr. Using the internet service is hell cheaper than asking the lawyer, but you got to have a little cash to play. Yeah, but we should have a lawyer on retainer, like just to protect ourselves. Like I don't even know what that cost or but I'm sure Coder Dan would agree. We should have get those things in order because we are a separate entity from Pixelcraft. So making sure our entity is like proper even in this looser regulatory environment that we're going through, just to not get in trouble.
Yeah, makes sense. I think it's a good time to do that.
Yeah, because the other things you have to consider is there's a level of like we even if we had a petty cash account, it's in crypto, right? Are we moving it? Are we setting up a DAO Foundation bank? I know that there was like I saw something in the Constitution about being able to not a bank, but like a account that's real world because that's part of the CorpSec. They could be an agent that executes financial transactions on behalf of the DAO, such as us transferring crypto into an exchange so that we can use that to pay for a service because maybe some of these services will allow us to use crypto, but most of them are going to want like fiat. Yeah, I would say the best thing we should fire up a thread post on this and start talking about what that looks like and what we think are the necessary needs for yeah, hardcore, but then like if you use your card and you execute, we could do that. That's gonna work and that's cheap. But you're putting yourself and any director that does that is putting themselves at legal risk. Where if we have like a proper corporate structure that's tied to, those the fiat part of it, then it's still under the umbrella of the foundation. That's in my opinion. Yeah, but who's gonna hold a Coinbase card for like the DAO? Yeah, I think even with that, you need a KYC. So, like, I don't know if a foundation can KYC to Coinbase, but the company that in the Cayman Islands could go to a bank and set up an account for us that we can use for those purposes. We could also just buy, I think Light Piglet knows about this stuff, gift cards. Have the DAO buy a gift card and use the gift card to pay for stuff. Like some of them are gift credit cards. We will, pay fees for that, but that's a way to offboard crypto and not have to go through a bank. But this is all like I feel like I'm trying to get away from like making deals in the alley and doing like stuff that's not great. Prepaid visas, yeah, this is true. All right, so I say we fire up a thread. We start thinking of realistic needs and a framework for how this could work, how we envision the DAO directors executing this on behalf of the DAO. And then we can start making the moves in the governance process to be able to go and, you know, start a SIG prop and then a core prop and then make things happen. This might make sense to wait until after quorum rules change. See that we have some people typing, but we're about 5 minutes away from the 1 hour mark. So unless there's any other like important business, I guess we could wrap up here. Does anybody have anything that we should address in these last few minutes?
Nope. Everyone just go and vote. If there's people that haven't voted, let's try to rally the vote here in the last day. The buyback proposal got 108%, so we're about 13% lower than that. I think there's still some room.
Yeah, friends.
21 hours left.
Yeah. Don't be like me. Go get your ledger and go put in some votes, and then we'll try to get this puppy across the line.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna jump off here, friends. Been a great hangout as always, and let's make some gotcha games. Hope you guys come away from the call being like, you know what, I'm gonna fire up v0.dev or bolt.new or lovable.dev and just play around a bit, see what you can come up with, get some some gotcha games coming out for this this hackathon that Golden Cross was talking about.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll play with some v0.dev right after this and make some breakfast. Friends, thank you so much for coming out. Remember, if you have any opinions or anything like that, jump into the forum and drop your ideas, and we'll keep ideating as we do. Thank you all, and have a good night. Or
Awesome.
GM.
See you, friends. Have a great weekend.